Good evening and welcome. Appreciate you stopping by for a little game dev behind the scenes. Tonight, we're doing Golden Spotlight, where we are getting to take a look at a game called Project Gardner, which is not what you expect. I'll tell you that right off the bat. And its creator, gameplay and technical designer and programmer, Dillon Wiltshire. Hey, thanks for being on the program.
I know it's a pleasure. I'd love to talk about it. Haven't gotten a chance to do enough of it.
Great. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. And we've got a few slides rolling on the screen right now, just showing a couple of the graphics and so forth. And then we can roll some gameplay video here in a moment. But just want to welcome everybody to the program. Appreciate you being here and stopping by. And if you know anybody else who would appreciate getting to check out a new game, I hope you'll encourage them to tune in as well. So Project Gardner, it's a lot of folks of my channel may have seen me working on a floral studio program, and so it has nothing to do with that. This is actually a first-person platforming shooter with speed running. Is that an accurate description?
But yeah, that's pretty accurate.
All right. So, what can you tell us about it? What would you?
Well, it's like you said, it's a first person platforming thing. We really wanted to lean into this kind of fast paced, really lean into the speed running thing, make it a big part of. We've seen so many big communities around like Titanfall speed running, and there's certain games like I think Neon White comes to mind of just really quick, fun, get a community together, find routes, make it a little puzzly thing, but mostly just have fun with a quick, speedy game.
So you mentioned get a community together. Is this game being developed for like multiplayer networking, or what kind of options are you guys looking at?
So it is going to be a single player game.
Okay,
We're not slated for any multiplayer, especially nothing live multiplayer. But we do want to have like leaderboards and competitions and garner some kind of, if not in the game, at least online community around the game. Try and, if nothing but build hype, at least have fun with each other. Try
for
to one
sure.
up our scores and so on.
Yeah, yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you put this together. You're working in Unreal Engine.
Yep. Unreal
Okay.
Engine 5, 5.4 is what the version we're on right now.
All right. Cool. So what kind of sparked your interest with to get this game started? Like, was there something particular that got the ball rolling, or I
So I can't claim ownership of coming up with this idea. I was approached by someone else on our team, who's kind of had this project as his kind of baby for a couple years.
okay,
Um, it didn't start development until roughly early August, maybe late July. Um, but he's kind of been cooking up the idea for a while. I can't say exactly what his inspirations were for it, but it's certainly been uh, he's had like strong ideas around this idea of wanting it to be fun, obviously first and foremost, but um, kind of this quirky, doesn't take itself too seriously, but does have a nice, fun narrative, um, and you take a design aspect that we don't really see in games much right now, which is a very futuristic but nature focused kind of solar punk theme is what we're calling it. I don't know if that's an official term for what it's called, but
right.
it fits what we're going for pretty well.
Sounds official enough to me. Yeah, I noticed in here we're seeing some mood board stuff as well as some actual graphics from the game. Kind of got
Yeah.
yeah, very cool, very cool. And I know you've also done some game jam projects. I want to get to that shortly. We can set that aside for a minute, but a couple other things that we can take a sneak peek at there that you've worked on. I'm curious to do that. I do want to remind our guests, anybody who's here viewing, please feel free to drop any questions or comments in the chat as we go along, and we will field those questions with Dillon. And also be sure and check out the links below. We've got links for all his pages, social media for the games. All that stuff is set up there. You can copy and drop those in from our links section on our About page below. So be sure and check that out. All right. So, what about you? Let's talk about you for a minute, like your background and when you got started. I understand you have an actual like a bachelor's degree in game design. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I went to study at the University of Central Florida. I knew pretty early on that I wanted to get into games in high school. I didn't nail anything down until around the time I was applying to universities, but um, went there, had a 3 year program, uh, really just gave it my all. I started learning from a design, more design heavy focused kind of track, like level design, gameplay design, all of that. Like what's going to make the player feel more in like immersed in this kind of game. But as the years went on, I went more of a technical side of things, did more programming, optimization, stuff like that. And that last year for our capstone project is where we all kind of met each other, the whole team. So we've known each other for a good 2 years now. We all graduated roughly last year around the same time, and yeah, we've been primarily using Unreal Engine this whole time. Did a couple jam projects together, like you mentioned, and we've got our own skills, leverage them to the best we can, lift each other up. We're having a great time.
Fantastic. Definitely love the support of the community, the game dev community, and so forth. Real quick, want to take a moment to welcome those who have joined us late and who have just come back from ad break. Appreciate you joining us as tonight we are talking with gameplay and technical designer and programmer Dillon Wiltshire and taking a look at a few of his gaming projects, most importantly, Project Gardner, which is a very interesting. We'll take another look here. I'm going to roll this gameplay footage, but again, like a runner mixed with a platformer and a first-person shooter. So you were talking about your schoolwork. I was curious. Like, did you have a passion for getting into games before you went to school, or was that something that you decided to get into once got started in your education?
Yeah, so I've always had a pretty strong love for games. I didn't nail down that I wanted to make them until I was pretty late into high school. Um, but I enrolled in college knowing that this was the track that I wanted to go. I remember a funny story actually when I was in elementary school. We had like career day where you dress up as what you want to do as an adult. I was maybe 10 years old and I came in with just a Mario shirt on because I knew that I wanted to do something with games even back then. But knowing exactly what kind of field, I took a branch off in high school to do some mechanical robotics stuff, which is
Oh,
a lot of
cool.
fun,
Yeah.
um, general programming skills, and so on and so forth. But by the time I graduated, I knew that I wanted to get into making games.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So, then we talked about, or I briefly mentioned the fact that you had done some game jam work. It tends to be a good way to start in the industry and kind of get things rolling. I think we've all had some experience to some level in that realm. Sometimes those game jam projects can be awfully fun. So, what would you like to, which one would you like to share with us here? I've got a few things queued up for you. So if you start talking, I'll roll on screen.
Sure. I guess we'll go chronologically. If we go with the Lux Imperium one,
Okay.
um, this was a game jam. I should mention we everyone that's working on Project Gardner at the moment. Most everybody was on the teams with me when we were doing these game jam projects as well. Um, Lux Imperium was, I think, one of the first, if not the first, game jam that we've worked on together. Um, the theme, I believe, was Into the Darkness. And on that project, I was working mostly as a level designer, doing some technical work as well. Um, and we wanted to take that theme into the dark and kind of, as everyone does, subvert it in some fun way. Um, and what we landed on was this 3D puzzle platformer, um, where you can switch between two different world states, a light world and a dark world, and you would have to compare the differences between them and try and make your way through otherwise impossible obstacles. There's a wall up in this
Oh,
world,
that is
and you switch to
fascinating.
the other one. Yeah, you go through where that wall would be, pop out the other side. So
Huh.
I had a ton of fun working on this one. It was really fun to try and use those reality twisting parts of my brain. Um, and I think it's something that a lot of us are the most proud of as well, because it's got a lot of flavor and a lot of style, even
Yeah.
if it didn't go super far.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't quite grasp the context trying to, in watching this gameplay video. But hearing you talk about it, I'm starting to put the pieces together. I imagine you probably would have to play it to get a real feel for how it kind of comes together. That is a great idea, though. Wonderful concept. And the the screenshot that started this said 1 week game jam. So did you guys
Mm-hmm.
really put this together in a single week?
Yeah, we sure did. We had how many? I think it was maybe six of us working on this. It was me and another programmer doing most of the technical stuff. And then I believe we had three or four artists. Um, that's kind of how all of our projects have been. It's been maybe 50 or 60% artists. But yeah, the underlying systems were actually pretty simple. The tricky part was doing the level design. So we kind of, once we had that foundation down, divvied up the level design between us. Because it's a pretty simple, aesthetically looking game. So once we nailed that, it was kind of okay. Let's just fill it with as much as we can. And
Yeah.
so yeah, bang this out in a week. It was super fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. I'd love to get a feel for that one. So this one correct me if I'm wrong. Is this one available on
Yeah.
itch.io?
So both
Okay.
this and our next game jam are available on itch right now to play.
Okay, cool. So check that link. We've got that in our about page here on this channel, so you can go grab that link and check this game out, which I'm going to do myself. I'm intrigued. Got my attention. And how did you do in the game jam? How,
I think we got first place on this one.
yeah.
It was I believe this was a collegiate game jam between a couple different UCF schools, or at least one other UCF school or Florida school. Sorry. And yeah, there were maybe 20-ish teams participating, and we landed first spot.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, I knew you won, so I had to push that out of you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Okay, cool. So then you've got um, another game jam project as well, or is there something else that you wanted to share on this one before we move on?
No, not particularly. I mean, if
Well,
we all loved working on this one. If we heard that a bunch of people want to support it or want to see more of it, we can maybe convince ourselves to work on it a bit more. Maybe make it an official game.
yeah, that would be cool. I do have a question before we move on from this one. Like, what was your experience like working as part of doing a week long game jam? Like, how did you feel about the process? I'm sure there were had its pros and cons.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, we've all worked on games together already, so we kind of had an understanding of what all our strengths and weaknesses are, what our development looks like with each other. So that was really handy and really nice to have going into it. So in that sense, production was pretty smooth. We knew what to do, what we were getting into, um, and kind of went with it. It was was pretty simple, all things considered. There's always some kind of crunch with a game jam, but that's unavoidable.
Or with any game, really.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
nothing too
Okay.
remarkable about it.
So what was your next game jam then?
So our, well, at least the next one on our list here was I believe it was called Launching Limbs. We did a couple, maybe one or two in between these, um, that just there wasn't a whole lot of substance there to really show.
Gotcha.
Um, and I did a solo game jam as well that was not scoped properly.
Uh oh.
Um, yeah, I'm used to working with other people, so going at it alone took a bit longer than I thought.
Fair
But
enough. Fair enough.
yeah, this next one here, Launching Limbs, was another week long game jam. Um, I believe the theme was something along the lines of sacrifice. I could be wrong there, but it's another platforming game. We love our platformers. The idea was that you played as a robot and you trapped under this mining cave system or so, and you've got to find your way through. But in order to get up these complex or otherwise really large leaps and such, you'd have to expend some of your limbs, which have like explosive stores in them. So the sacrificial idea was that if you want to make it across this jump, you've got to blow off your arm, and then you can do that in the right order and get to the end and move on to the next level.
Wow, that's that's crazy, crazy creative. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you. Yeah, this was I believe there were 10 levels. It was a bit of there was a little bit of narrative that we snuck in there as well, between different robots that you can find scattered around the levels. Um, and depending on how you did in that level, whether you took the more difficult higher path, or the lower path to get to the end, would determine how much energy you'd have by the end of the game. And if you had enough, you were able to not only save yourself, but save all of the other robots that are trapped in that cave. And yeah, it's just a couple narrative things that we threw in there for fun that I liked adding in.
Nice. I like the polished touches on the UI and stuff. Considering it's a 1 week game jam, you don't always see that. So that's
Mhm.
a nice touch.
Yeah, someone on our team came in there maybe the second day that we had this and added that post processing filter, and it changed it so much.
Very cool. Very cool. Um, and Royal Pain says he loves it too, for sure. So, was this the same group then that you did with the previous game jams? Like, were you still working with the same group of people?
Right, yeah.
Yep.
So this one actually we did, the person that approached us about the current project, Project Gardner, we hadn't worked with him per se in the past, but he was in our capstone class, so we knew each other pretty well. But this one, Launching Limbs, is the first, well, not the first, but it is a project that we had finished first with him. Um, so otherwise, same group of people.
Very cool. Very cool. I mean, that says something if you can work with people under that kind of time crunch and you still want to go back for more. That's
Yeah.
positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very
No,
cool.
I'm super grateful to have a bunch of people that love to work on games like I do.
Very cool. So do the game jams, all of them that you've worked on, we saw a couple here, and then you mentioned that there were a couple others, and one that you tried on your own. Do you feel like it helped hone your skills on a specific kind of set, or do you feel like it made you explore things that maybe you weren't as comfortable with, and so you learned new things, or I don't know, some of both?
Yeah, I'd say inherently those are pretty closely connected. For sure, on the Launching Limbs one, I was way more on the technical side of things, and because this was a very explosive, movement-based kind of game, there was a lot of physics stuff that we needed to figure out in terms of the character controller, and that wasn't something that I'd really messed with before. Um, so I tackled that not really knowing what I was getting into, doing a lot more math than I was used to. But Came out of it super happy with it, learned a lot, and I've been applying that to a current project. It was really helpful in that regard, actually. So definitely learned a lot. Went in head first, did what I could.
Very cool. Very cool. So I know you're probably not supposed to pick favorites, but out of your game jam projects, what's your fave? What do you like the most?
Ah, see, I think conceptually, I'm a bigger fan of Lux Imperium.
Hmm.
I feel like we could do a lot more with that game. But in terms of the amount of stuff that we got and the level of polish that we had, I'm more proud of the launching news. So favorites in different categories.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, let me take a moment and remind everybody if you've got questions for Dillon, please drop them in the comments. We'd be happy to entertain questions and throw them out there. Any comments on any of these game projects that you have seen or about Dillon? Happy to entertain those. We're talking mostly with Dillon about his newer project that they're under development now on, which is Project Gardner. And like, where are you guys at in development on this game? Then,
Um, so we all work together in school, so we've kind of got our own little definition of where we're at in production. So I'd say we're just around or just past the prototype phase. We've got levels, we've got mechanics working, um, we've got demos in the works. So I'd say somewhere between like a prototype and a vertical slice of like a finished level. So pretty
so
early
how
on
long
still.
have you been working on this? I'm guessing it's more than the week you put into the game jams.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I think I mentioned earlier we started work on this. The big chunk of the team started work on this around August, late July. But I mentioned the producer of this project, the guy that came up with it, has been working on it for a couple months prior to that as well. Um, so it's been, what would that be? Maybe about 6 months ish. And we've all been working on it part time.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. So, one of the big questions that we normally get, it hasn't come up yet, but one of the, well, before I get to it, here, let's field this one. Abomination asks, do you have a goal for release?
Currently, we do not. Like I said, we're still pretty early in production, and none of us are super big, full scale production knowledge people. Um, but yeah, I can't really give a ballpark on that because it depends on finding other work and making sure that we have enough to keep the lights on and stuff like that.
Sure, sure, sure. Before I move on to my other question, I'll circle back to that. I did also notice that out of our links that we have set up for you, there's also one for Light Reforged. Can you tell us about that
Yes.
and what your involvement there was?
So Light Reforged was our school capstone project. So again, same people. That's the first game that we worked on together. Took us about a full 9 months of development. Um, but it was, like I said, it was our school capstone project. So we are all working very hard, many hours of the week dedicated to it, and released it at the end of the school year after we did a couple bug fixes for the full Steam release. But yeah, it got on the Steam page. We obviously there's always things that we could wish we could improve before final
Right.
release date, but
Sure.
we're all super proud of it. We all that's where we met each other, so we've got a lot of fond memories of it,
Awesome.
and
Great.
yeah, great project.
So yeah, the link to the Steam page for Light Reforged, so their capstone project is available in those links. So check that one out as well. We didn't have any video to show of that one, so I thought I would just mention that and call that out. That you can jump on there and check that game out. It's a free to play, is correct?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
all of these have been free.
yeah. So You got no reason, guys. Rush, check it out.
Yeah, if you
All
got
right.
feedback for me, I'd be happy to hear it.
Feedback always appreciated, right?
Hmm.
All right, cool. All right, so Dylan, here is my question that everybody always seems to want to know, and it usually always comes up. No one's asked it yet, but I know it will if I don't ask it, so I might as well. I already know the answer to this, so I'm going to let you answer. But what about your favorite games when it comes to playing? Like, what do you play yourself?
So recently, I'd have to say, just because of how many friends I've been having playing with it or playing with me, it's been Marvel Rivals. Um, I've always been a pretty big fan of shooter games, and it's the first hero shooter that I've played, but I've just been loving it. It's been a bunch of fun messing around with some buddies. Um, I think if I had to go of all time, it's between Destiny 2 and I want to say Hollow Knight, probably. Two very different games, but Hollow Knight, I remember coming across that on the Game Pass Xbox, and it just blew my mind. I had so much fun with it. I went back. I've done speed runs. I've done challenge modes. It's just been a super fun part of my catalog. But Destiny 2 has a very special place in my heart as well. Leading back to that community thing, I just having buddies to play with and all of these great features that you can do with the clan and with IRL friends. It's been very impactful on my love for games.
Very cool, very cool. So, what has been like? Talk about your playing your games. What about working on them? What has been kind of the piece that has been the most fun to work on, or what part of your day is kind of the most enjoyable?
Um, I'd say in terms of some of the most rewarding stuff to work on has definitely been more of the programming kind of technical side of things. I love getting into the engine, having a problem or something that I want to implement, not knowing really where to start, but then puzzling my way there to a solution and seeing that there in the game and playable is always super rewarding. Um, but also doing a bunch of leadership for our on the design team for our Light Reforged project because that's the role that I landed myself in. Being able to collaborate and spearhead the design for the game as well, having open communications and getting everyone on the same page and we're all excited to work for it that's also one of the more fun parts of making them.
Very cool, very cool. All right. I'm going to roll some more game footage here for the Project Gardner. That's the main one we're talking about here today, the one that is currently under development.
Cool.
Um, and again, would love any questions. I know folks have a lot going on tonight. That's okay. But I don't know what else have I not asked that you want to share about this? I noticed a little. Are you headed for? It looks like you're headed for kind of like portals or like exit points for the level. Is that what we're
Yeah.
seeing there on the?
So one of the slides that we've gotten here is of like a garden shed.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working on that just this last week, actually, getting that to replace this big yellow cylinder at the end of each level.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Yeah.
each one starts because, like I mentioned, it's a very speed run focused game. So
Yeah.
there's a definitive start and a definitive end to each level. The idea is that you've got all of these mutated plants in here that you've been hired to get rid of um, as part of Eden, which is the name of the company that hired you. Go in there, mess up these plants, and once they're all cleared, you find your way at the end of the level, and you rocket out of there in this high-powered garden shed.
There you go. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that spinning graphic. Is that like a power up or something that you're running through on the level?
So that is the weapons that we're using. So we've
Okay.
got a couple of them so far. We've got the nail gun. We've got a insecticide sprayer. We've got a UV sniper. We've got a revolving hose revolver. We got a play on a bunch of different gardening tools, or make general crafting tools that are much more deadly than they should be. And so yeah, those pickups there with the glowing ring around them, those are the weapons that you pick up,
Nice.
and each one has its own special ability. So like the garden hose, you can dash forward with your shears that you've got like holding on underneath the weapon. Um, you've got the nail gun, which shoots you straight up in the air. You've got the sniper teleports you wherever you throw it. Stuff like that, just to keep the ball rolling, get you more movement options, and add to the different variations you have in each level.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I like it. So yeah, we should hopefully. I was going to say we'll cycle back around to that garden shed you were talking about, that slide, but I think these are randomized, so I have no idea. It could come up in a moment, or it could come up in a while. That's all
Mm.
right.
Yeah.
We'll see it. So you said you have. How many of you are working on the project? Is it just two, or you have more than that?
Working on this project, I believe there's 8 of us.
Oh wow.
So the same group of
Okay.
people, yeah, same
Wow.
group that we've been doing the game jams with, plus our creative director slash producer slash
Okay.
designer. Um, yeah, we've got someone on music. We've got two 3D artists, three 3D artists, and an animator. Got two level designers and myself and another programmer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a team. Um,
Hmm.
for one of these games, and very cool. Definitely curious to see how this progresses. So you have to check back in with this, or are you has there been talk about creating like a Steam page or anything to start building awareness, or um,
Yeah. So marketing has been something that we've never really dealt with before, but we know that it's something that we have got to get a good grip on before we start trying to sell the game, because this will be the first pay to play game that we're setting out there.
gotcha,
Um,
yeah.
so we don't have a Steam page just yet. We're still working on getting some good 2D art to title screens and promotional images and all that fun stuff. I've had a very lucky privilege to talk to some professional marketing people at some local places nearby in the game industry. They've been super helpful. But yeah, we're working on marketing stuff, trying to figure out what we want to do, what kind of idea we want to build.
Yeah, I'll tell you, one of the greatest things that I have found personally is just the supportive community. Even when people are working on different games, it's not like a lot of businesses that are very competitive. It's almost like you want me to talk to you about my trade secrets, kind of thing. And I
Right.
love the fact that the game industry is not that way, especially when it comes to indie devs. And it's very much support and encourage each other and help each other to succeed. And I really love that about the community.
Yeah, me too.
It's one of the reasons I'm here doing this, for that very reason. Just want to be able to support and encourage other developers, and kind of bring some recognition to the projects that they are working on. So definitely. So we're also talking about, since we're talking about community and support, you're also involved with IGDA. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I joined fairly recently. I want to say a couple months ago. Um, I've just been meeting up with a bunch of developers, getting to know faces in the area, trying to get my name out there and get as much advice as I can muster off of these people. Um, but it's been great. Everyone's been super nice. It's been very friendly and welcoming, and I'm very grateful to be a part of that.
Same. Agreed. Um,
Yeah,
we're not from the
absolutely.
same IGDA. We're from completely different regions, so we
Hmm.
haven't crossed paths there. But definitely sure it's a similar experience. So
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool. All right. Let's see. I think, nope, my eyes are deceiving me. I thought we were jumping to another break. Sometimes the delay throws me off, and I think sometimes they're just trying to trick me. Anyhow, Dylan, we definitely appreciate you hanging out and joining us tonight. I have we missed a game? I feel like I know there was a couple you said you didn't really have anything to show on, but like I'd be curious to hear more about like your solo endeavor if you have
Yeah.
anything you'd be willing to share.
I mean, I could see what I can muster up. I don't know exactly how you'd want me to show any of it, but I've got so I outside of the group that we've been working on together. Like I said, I did a solo game jam that not super happy with, but I think there's an idea there that I could work with if I choose to go back to it in the future. I've also technically done some music stuff. I have absolutely no background in music. I don't know any music theory, but I've done sound effects and little beats and stuff for other game jams in the past with a different group of people. Um, it's not really a whole lot to say. A bunch of school projects, I guess, that if there's interest, I can bring up. But yeah,
Yeah,
mostly
I
the same
don't.
stuff.
Unfortunately, I don't. I was just checking my setup, and without doing some on air manipulation, I don't have a way with this setup to do a share screen from you. That's something I'll
Mhm.
have to add to my layout so that we can do that in future broadcasts.
Yeah, always
Which
learning.
yeah. Which, speaking of, if you find yourself on down the line in this game and you'd like to come on, whether it's you yourself or even bring on some folks from your team, we'd be happy to host you guys and take a look at how it's progressed from now until whenever that might be. So,
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
something to keep in mind. Let's see. And then you mentioned earlier, you said that if if you got some positive feedback and reviews on like Lux, for example, Lux
Mhm.
Emporium, that you might pursue doing something more than that. Now, if all the same group are working on this Project Gardner, which sounds like kind of a big project,
Mhm.
I'm I'm wondering, are you going to have the time to be able to jump back to another older project, dust that off, or
Well, it's probably not in parallel with Project Gardner. But I think we all share a very similar sentiment of like we really like the idea of that game, and if we could, we'd go back to it, make something really cool out of it after we're done making Project Gardner
yeah, yeah,
for sure.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it would
Mhm.
definitely be cool to do a like a follow up stream, and just sort of see how it's progressed and come along. So you can
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
consider that. All right, cool. So again, folks, links down below for both Dylan. His LinkedIn page is on there. The Steam page for I'm sorry, I already forgot the name of that other one.
It was a light reforged.
Okay, thank you. As well as the links for HIO for launching limbs and Lux Emporium, all that available there below. So copy those down, take them. We'll keep them posted, available for a couple of weeks, as well as this video for people to be able to go back and review. And usually after it gets pulled from Twitch, which is about 2 weeks, then we like to post these on YouTube as well. There's that garden shack. If you're looking at the garden shed, if you guys are looking at your screen now, we're looking at that image. So this is the current piece that you're putting together this week. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. So our 3D artists threw this together in a couple hours earlier this
Wow,
week.
nice. Yeah,
We've been doing iterations, giving feedback, sharing updates on it. It's a pretty recent design idea that we had. We just needed something to replace that big cylinder at the end of the
right.
level, and one of our designers came up with a garden shed. And I don't remember who exactly came up with the idea of it being a rocket, but uh, yeah, we thought it was fun, silly. I've been saying fun a lot, but that's the goal we're going for here, right?
I mean, it's a game. It's got to
Yeah,
be fun. What's the point in doing it if it's not fun?
right, exactly.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. So, have you thought about, I know we touched on possibly dusting off one of the old projects like Lux Emporium, and I know that we
Mhm.
don't have a timeline on Project Gardner. It could be a while. So maybe this is jumping the gun quite a bit, but have you thought ahead? Like, do you have any projects stewing in the back of your mind that you're like, oh, I'd love to get to this someday, kind of a thing?
Uh, I mean, I feel like every game developer has their notes app full of game ideas that they want to work on. Um, but nothing really in particular jumps out at me because there's always so many things bouncing around. I really try to focus the most on what I'm doing here and now in the present, trying to make that as good as I can before I think about jumping to something else. But yeah, I mean, Lux Imperium, I've mentioned a few times, love to get back to that. But anything really that I can get my hands on, I'd love to be a part of.
Very cool. So that is something you're going to have to teach me, the ability to kind of shelf all those ideas and stay focused on the project at hand. I need a lesson or two in that. Anybody who
Well, I
watches
will
this,
say it helps a lot to have a group of people holding you accountable.
for sure, I have no
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah, anybody who watches this channel much at all knows that I've got my toes dipped into way too many pools. I am working on so many projects. It's ludicrous.
It works for some people. I couldn't do that. I get so overwhelmed so fast.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It has its moments of that, but it also has its moments of a lot of fun being able to kind of bounce around. So
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool. Like you said, one of the cool things is when you work on a shorter project like a game jam, or for me, when I'm throwing myself into a different project, you start picking up some skills or approaches that you wouldn't necessarily have tried,
Mhm.
and you're able to convert that and move that over into another project. So
I mean,
that's
everything
one
that you
thing I
do
enjoy.
is just compounds on each other. You
Yeah,
make something better each time.
for sure, for sure. All right, let's see. Royal Pain asks, random question: what would Dev Dillon now tell beginning Dev Dillon? That's a great question.
Hmm. So I'm still pretty early on in my experience with game dev. It's been about 4 years since I've started like getting down and actually learning it in school and out of school. So I can't say I'm the most experienced, but I mean it's I really just got to say get a planner, get a daily planner, set something, you know, give yourself goals that you can reach each day, something to work on so you make incremental progress as much as you can. Don't be afraid to jump into stuff that you're not comfortable with, things that you don't know how to do. You're going to figure them out eventually. So you just got to find something that you don't know, jump into it, try your best you can, and come out the other side knowing more than you did.
Nice. Yeah, good advice. Good advice. I like that. All right. Well, we're starting to get close on time. So if anybody has any other questions before we wrap things up, please drop them in the comments there. That was a great question from Royal Pain. He seconded great advice. Thanks, man. So, yep,
Yeah, of course.
absolutely. Uh, all right. What about just out of curiosity? I don't know. It's always a controversial hot button type thing to bring up, but
Mhm.
you've worked primarily in Unreal, but I know you've dabbled in other engines.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Unreal is the way to go, or do you feel like they're kind of suited to different types of projects? What do you think at this stage?
Um, I mean, I'm of the mindset that every engine has its own strengths and weaknesses. It really depends on what kind of project you're going for and what skill set you have. I love Unreal. Like I said, I started out doing more design stuff and kind of worked my way into programming. And Blueprints was a very easy and approachable way to do that for me. Um, so if somebody doesn't have a bunch of technical props, absolutely, I'd recommend jumping into Unreal. But it's also not super well suited for very low stakes games or 2D games. It's just not the kind of engine that really does that very well compared to something like Unity. Um, like I said, it's very situational how you want to monetize it, the scope of the game, how many people are working on it. So I don't subscribe to any one thing or the other, but
Yep.
I do love Unreal.
Yep. All good points. All good points. All right. Let's see. Nope. Haha. Unity or RPG Maker. Okay. Well. All right.
Hey,
Uh,
I've seen some amazing games made in Game Maker. Whatever you think works best for you, whatever you used to, I'm sure you can figure it out.
yep.
Especially
Yep.
something that's open source. Make your own plugins, add your own stuff to the engine, do whatever you want.
Yeah. We had a guest on last week that presented a real nice RPG game from Game Maker. So all kinds of different. I just always have to ask if we have the time. I mean, we're all over the
Mhm.
place. I work in Unity, so. But
Yeah.
one of these days, I'll expand my knowledge and start dabbling in some of the other engines. But unlike you, I haven't done that yet. I feel like I still have so much to learn with the one I'm working in that I'm not ready to quite tackle another one. But
Yeah, that's fair. And that's kind of what helps with doing a bunch of different things at once, a bunch of different projects. You can try something new that you otherwise would be focused on something else for.
absolutely, absolutely. All right. So, as we kind of get close on time here, I guess let me just throw out a generic question to you and just say, is there anything that I didn't feed you question wise that you wish I had that you kind of want to get in and be able to share before we part ways?
No, I mean, it's been a great talk. You've been throwing me some great questions. Nothing really in particular that I'd love to talk about. Um, it's kind of hard to think of things to talk about with our current project without somebody else knowing kind of what's going on. Um, I guess I can talk more about what I've been doing. In that project, I do mostly gameplay and technical design, like I mentioned, and that entails a lot of character abilities and character controller functionalities and stuff like that. So we've got a bunch of physics stuff that I taught myself. We've got momentum based slides that speed you up or slow you down based on the slope of the ground. You've got wall running. You've got, like I mentioned, all of the weapon abilities have their own stuff, their own movement abilities attached to them that I've helped figure out. Um, doing a lot of, I don't know if it'd be back end or front end. Still not used to that term yet, but more of the programming stuff, and it's been super fun.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
Well, like I said, I'd definitely be curious to see how things progress and just hear how you guys as a team come together and are able to kind of put this all together and bring on some new touches and new levels and everything that you have in store. So, do consider us if you'd like to come back and utilize this platform to get out some more knowledge or just to have fun and chat. We'd love to have you.
I'd love to do it again for sure. I'm
Cool, cool,
very
cool.
excited about the potential for this game, and I'd love to talk more about it when we get some more progress done.
Yeah, it's tough to it's tough to have too much when you're in the earlier stages, but I mean, you've got
Hmm.
some nice stuff to showcase even at this stage, you know. Um,
Yeah.
Royal Pain says round table, and that would be a great round table show. So what he's referring to is we're trying to do on Wednesday nights where we bring on three guests and just talk game dev stuff. And
Okay.
you could bring on some folks from your team or something. We could talk a little about your game, and then just talk dev.
Yeah,
If you
it sounds
guys are
fun.
interested, let us know. So
I can talk to some of my teammates, see if they'd want to join me for that.
yeah,
I'd absolutely be down.
right on. Well, Dylan, we definitely appreciate having you on the program. And for those of you who are able to join us live, appreciate you as well. If you're watching this in rerun, thanks for hanging through and taking a look at Dylan's work and the upcoming game Project Gardner. Don't forget about the games that he has worked on that are currently available. Check out those links as well as. Dylan's LinkedIn page and website. All that is down there as well. So, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll let you get back to your evening. Thank you so much for being a guest with us, Dylan.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, you too. See you guys.